You can always tell what Sam Lake is currently infatuated with through his games. In Max Payne, it's John Woo films. Alan Wake 1 is Stephen King novels and Twin Peaks. Quantum Break is Christopher Nolan films, and Control is the SCP Wiki. This isn't a bad thing at all, and it's cemented Sam Lake's reputation as an auteur game designer. He's like the Finnish Hideo Kojima. He's always steering into American pop culture and putting his own foreign spin on it. We need outsiders like Sam Lake in this industry in order to challenge genre conventions. The difference between Lake and Kojima is that Kojima takes his fascination and builds unique gameplay ideas around his inspirations, while Lake seems to treat gameplay as an afterthought and is more interested in simply telling his parody of his favourite works of art. Like, if someone pitched you a game inspired by Stephen King novels, would you really expect it to be a third-person shooter? So now we arrive at their next game, Alan Wake 2, and I was eager to see what had inspired Remedy this time, and after finishing the game, I have no idea. So many games are pitched as, it's this thing you like combined with this thing you like, but I hesitate to give any such description to Alan Wake 2. In terms of gameplay, I suppose it's closest to the remakes of classic Resident Evil titles, in the sense that the gameplay is focused on resource management and environmental puzzle solving. But that feels reductive, because Alan Wake 2 leans much more into puzzles than Resident Evil titles, and the puzzles in those games are mainly finding the specific key to go into the particular lock. But Alan Wake 2's puzzles are far more complex and cerebral, at least in Alan's sections of the game. This reality warping mechanic is such a peculiar concept, but oh my god, Remedy is one of the first studios to utilize the power of new hardware uniquely and effectively in a way that can't be replicated on previous gen consoles. This is why we have console generations, to allow for new mechanics to be implemented into games where they wouldn't otherwise be possible, not to erase load times and render prettier textures. The scene-changing puzzles aren't like anything I've ever seen, because Remedy is the first studio to utilize the advancements in technology to create this effect. And while Saga Anderson's chapters are the most familiar in terms of returning to the Stephen King and David Lynch style of the original, this game presents these sections with a far more personal eye than its predecessor. Alan Wake 1 was far more interested in pushing forward to its next revelation, much like the King novels it was ebbing from. Saga Anderson's chapters in Alan Wake 2 are much more character-focused, literally delving deeper into Saga's mind in order to help us understand her character better. It's not the most elegant way to get us more attached to her. In fact, a lot of the symbolism in this game is less on the nose and more pie in the face. But I appreciate Remedy trying to put more of a focus on character for the first time. It really feels like this is the first time they're trying to carve out their own identity, and they're doing it brilliantly. I can't really think of any other pieces of fiction with the same artistic design as The Dark Place. Maybe Sin City and other noir works, but this is mixed with some Lovecraftian and eldritch theming, and even when you stir all that into the same pot, none of that meshes with a goddamn musical number that somehow doesn't break the tone of the area. This isn't Sam Lake's latest phase being presented in a video game format. This is a genuinely bizarre original concept that somehow still feels like it exudes the life force of the studio's previous works, and I've really only got this to say to Sam Lake. Why the hell did you spend 2 decades reinterpreting other people's work when you're this insanely talented at unique atmosphere and visual design? Forget being an auteur who reinterprets some of America's finest artists. You should be letting yourself run wild with whatever crazy ideas you can conjure, because what you've created is fantastic. Alan Wake 2 is the best game Remedy has ever created, and it's the first of their titles to truly feel like it doesn't owe its inspirations to another greater piece of work. Despite its wild new originality, it still feels like a game only Remedy could have made, with their trademark style. Alan Wake 2 feels like Sam Lake's Death Stranding, his first title freed from the constraints of others, and a game he wanted to make because he had his own vision for the title. In what has been a phenomenal year for gaming, against all odds, Alan Wake 2 is one of 2023's standout titles.